Chapter 3: The Position. The music business is just like any other business. In order to make money, you have to position yourself to do so. There are a lot of rules in this business that a lot of people make the mistake of making law. Everybody has different paths that they take to reach the success that they are looking for. Unfortunately, in this business, a lot of people look for the cookie cutter approach. Every situation does not work for everybody. Every fan does not react to every single song the same exact way. We must understand that. When I signed to Rap-A-Lot in late 1995, I put myself in a position to be the go-to producer for that company. And I did it with focusing my output of tracks that I was making and making myself available when everybody else wasn't available. And sometimes that means taking a lower pay also. But we must know the difference between devaluing ourselves and positioning ourselves. If you are taking a lower pay because you know that the music is going to make more money on the back end, then that's a smart move to position yourself to make more money on the back end of that song. Putting yourself in position takes a lot of knowledge and understanding, and I'm going to explain to you why. When I first started as a music producer, I had no value or worth when it came to publishing. I signed a contract with Rap-A-Lot, and 50% of my publishing went to them and 50% of it was mine. They owned all of the publishing, but I got 50% of the money on the publishing end. That put me in a position to become priority, because if I made money, they made money. A lot of people will frown on that situation and look at it and think that it's not good. But what you have to understand is you can make money and build your value up easier when somebody's growing with you. So that's how I was able to create this gigantic catalog that I have today, because I was in position to produce the bulk of the songs that were produced on Rap-A-Lot when I was signed to them. Positioning sometimes takes knowledge to understand how to build your value. A lot of people will fight for something that has no value instead of giving something to build it. Once your value is established and your contract obligations that you have with another person is over, then you're putting yourself in a position to negotiate a contract that is worthy to what you want. But we have to understand that at the beginning of anybody's career, you have to understand the steps that it's going to take to build that value up. A naive mind would think that it's a bad idea to give somebody something that's worth nothing and fight for it than to give somebody something that they can help you build with. You have to look at it like this. If an investor invests in you, whether it's a house, a car, a career, what have you, they're going to look for a return on their investment. That's no difference than a person signing you to a publishing deal and your publishing catalog is zero. They're investing money into your career, so they have to be a return on their investment. You can't tell a person, hey, invest this money into me. I'm not going to give you any ownership or any partnership in anything that I'm doing, and I'm just going to pay you the minimum back on your investment, or I'm not going to give you any security on your investment. That's not only putting them in a bad position, but it's putting you in an awful position as well. It's very important to set goals. With goals, you can know exactly what point you're trying to reach. With whatever you are giving up to get to that point has to make sense, but also has to have an ending point on your relationship with the person that you start your business with. So you have to be very careful how you start and understand where you're going to finish. And I think it's also important to understand that every investor has a return on their investment. It's up to you to make the decision if that's going to be in perpetuity or it's going to be for a term. I would recommend that it be for a term. I wouldn't want anybody investing in me and then I have to pay them for the rest of my life. That's not a good position to be in. So you have to be very careful on who you're going to allow to invest into your music, into your career, and also know exactly what the terms are. How long are you going to have to pay back for the investment that was initially put into your project? Without knowing that, you can put yourself in a catastrophic situation to where you blow up or you become a major artist or a major producer, and you have yourself in a position where the initial investor that invested into your career will continue to get a return on that initial investment for the remaining of the life of your career. Know exactly what the terms are. Know exactly what the return on the investment is. Because if you don't, this will not end well. Your position will be extremely shaky. I've seen a lot of independent contracts from people that I've worked with that were horrible. And they didn't have the knowledge to understand what they were signing, nor did they have the outlet to get an attorney. In some of these contracts, you can be an artist and you can rap and do all of this stuff for years and not own one single master, not have any publishing. You're really just working off an advance or work for hire. This is not a good position to be in. Business, relationships, and endeavors are made to make money. If you're finding yourself in a business that's not making money, that is a hobby. It's not a business. In order to conduct business, you have to understand exactly what you are committing to. I would never advise anyone to sign a contract and blindly trust someone, whether you've been on them 20 years or even more than that, and not get a contract looked at by an attorney. Because there are always going to be terms and words and phrases that can take all of your rights away with one single word. So you have to pay attention to the language in the contract and hire somebody that can explain the contract to you. This is part of putting yourself in position also. Because the more knowledge that you accumulate and the more you understand, the better position you will be in to monetize off of every single work that you are doing in this business. Knowing your position in a contract is very important also. There are always going to be some clauses in a contract that are going to benefit you and put you in a position to monetize. But if you don't get a clear understanding on the contract that you agreed and you signed, there is no way that you can make money and put yourself in a position to be on the upside making money inside of that contract. For instance, I did a 40-song deal with Rap-A-Lot the first time I signed. In that 40-song deal, it stated that I would get 50% of my money for my tracks every time an artist recorded a song with me. So I knew the more I stayed in the studio and the more records I got recorded, the faster I was going to be able to collect money, at least 50% of whatever I was owed at that time. Those are bullet points that you have to understand. A lot of people will focus on what's bad in the contract and never look for what's good in it. Never make that mistake, because it's going to always be some upsides in that contract that are going to benefit you, whether it's a person providing an investment to you, or having a certain time when they have to invest, a certain time when they have to release a record, a certain time frame when they have to get placements for you as a producer. There's going to be something in those contracts that are going to be on the upside for you. Let's talk 360 deals. 360 deals can be beneficial, and sometimes they can be bad. If you're an artist that's signing for the first time, a 360 deal can be beneficial for you, and it could put you in a great position. And the reason that I state this is because if you are signed to a record label that has another way of streaming income from your music, they are going to make you priority. They are going to make sure that you have a shot at making money, because if you're making money, they are making money. This is how a 360 deal is beneficial to a person that's getting into a record deal for the first time. Now, on the flip side, a person that's already established and a company is wanting them to engage into a 360 deal, most times it's not a good position to be in. But we have to carefully examine this, because you're coming to the table with the value and the self-worth. So there's a different negotiation process when it comes to a person that's coming to the table with the value. The only way that a 360 deal would be beneficial to a person that has value when they come to the table is if the 360 deal is going to bring in more income to that artist or the producer or the songwriter, whoever's involved in that 360 deal. You also have leverage when you have value, and you can negotiate the deal to terminate at a certain time. Or if it doesn't perform and you don't make the money that you should, that you can opt out of the deal. So there's a lot of different avenues and ways that you can take to manage being engaged into a 360 deal. But it's not bad all the time, because if somebody else is making money with you, they're going to surely put you in position to make more money. This is how I became so successful at Rap-A-Lot. Shout out to Big Chief. He made sure that I was priority and that I was able to get in front of whoever came into the studio for tracks. I was always the first person at the door. If I didn't have him as a manager, I don't think that I would be as successful as I am today, because the opportunities wouldn't have been presented as fast as they were when he was my manager. So it's all about position and how you place yourself in a situation, especially when it comes to making money. A lot of people won't really understand some of the moves that are made and why you make them. But again, you have to live and do business by your rules. The cookie cutter situation can sometimes get you in extreme poor positions. And that's something that we really try to avoid every day, is being in a position where we cannot monetize, being in a position where you can't capitalize off of every situation that you are involved in. A lot of people will decline to be in situations because they don't agree with the business ethics that the other person is bringing to the table. But you have to look a little further to understand the path that you are on and the destination that you are trying to get to. Sometimes giving ownership to some people or to some companies will put you in a position to own everything else that you are trying to achieve in the future. Also will give you credibility for another company to take a chance with you and give you bigger bargaining power. So you always got to be careful on the decisions that you make and understand the reason why you are making them. That's the most important position that you can hold.